and that design of facilities needs to be coherent with the manned mission in future.
Indeed. Now let's get back to Earth a little bit and focusing on the rocket. Another crucial mark is about to come up, I believe, as the taikonauts are still preparing for the launch.
15 minutes.
Yes, we're approaching the 15-minute countdown to the launch. We can see the countdown clock at Command Center. Now it's the 15-minute countdown. We've passed that crucial mark. So we can see now the launch tower is fully opened.
Yep.
But I can still see that the rocket is still held by some kind of arms, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you can see still some arms are very close to the fuselage of the core stage.
And let's take a closer look at the site, and let's cross live to our reporter Suya standing by at very close to the launch tower. Suya, bring us up to date.
Hey there, Pendant. Again, we are 1.5 kilometers from that launch complex, and we'll see the rocket itself. It's almost free of all its tethers, all its link to the ground, and right now it's almost standing free, and that means it's almost ready to go. As you said, we are minus 15 minutes from that launch. We heard the Zero commander say all of those things, including he's asking all the people to evacuate from that launch area, and we've seen cars, the final batch of cars getting away from the launch pad. It means we're really, really close to the launch, and we've been talking to experts from the rocket system, from the spaceship system. Everything is ready, everything is set, but even though the people have been evacuated, actually not everything can be moved away so close from the launch pad. And now I have actually a small viewing tip for you. Now 50 meters, just 50 meters from that launch pad, there is a tree. And for the last 25 years, it has withstood fires, withstood burns from the rocket launch, and every year afterwards, it is reborn. And people here from the launch center say this really showcased the tenacity, the spirits of this launch center, really also of China's manned space development, that tenacity that they will also carry on into their future missions. So in a few minutes, in 15 minutes actually, if you can take your eyes off the taikonauts, if you can take your eyes off the rocket and the spaceship, go look for that tree. But for now, everything here, from what we see, what we've heard, they are ready, they are set for the launch, and we will wait for that and see it with you. Pandeng.
Thank you very much. Our reporter Suye at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. So, gentlemen, we can see that a convoy of vehicles are now leaving the launch tower site. That means we're really in the final stage to the launch, right?
We must count each of the person are not missed.
Right.
So that is really, really important for the ensure not only the safety of the astronauts, but also ensure safety of our ground staff.
So all those technicians, ground staff, assistants we see earlier helping the taikonauts or checking out the equipment, they have all left.
Yeah.
15 minutes and 1.5 kilometers. That's the clearance of the launch. And also there are bunkers underneath. There's some assistance helping the astronauts for the final preparation. They will leave, I think, just shortly before 5 minutes. These are last people. They will be hiding in the bunker. They will not leave the scene.
There will be no time to travel 1.5 kilometers.
From away, yes.
Right.
So they will hide in the bunker, but that is the whole process. The personnel will leave 15 minutes just before the launch.
Right.
You can see that the two astronauts is still reading the menu.
Right. Now we're about 11 minutes to the launch of the Shenzhou-16. And they're confirming the estimated ignition time, right?
Yes, what we call this is a zero launch window.
Okay.
Because it has a very strict requirement, because this launch is not an independent one. The object, the destination will be the Tiangong space station. So the basic requirement is to that when the Shenzhou spaceship comes into orbit, it must be in the same orbital plane with the Tiangong space station. So this is really a very strict requirement to our launch vehicle. So we mastered this zero launch window technology on the Shenzhou-8 mission during in 2011. But today, we furtherly improve the technology from the zero launch window to narrow launch window. Because you know that we have some design margin, so the capability of the launch vehicle is stronger than needed. So we can use this design margin to expand the launch vehicle from within 1 second to several seconds. So this is another improvement from the zero launch window to the narrow launch window.
Well, it has to. Every second matters in space program, right? Because for common people like me, it's just just a click of the clock's arm, but it will make whole difference in space, right?
It's quite critical. You know that if the orbit is not accurate enough, you know that the propellants in the Shenzhou spaceship is limited. So if the orbit is not accurate enough, it will has no chance or miss the chance to dock with the Tiangong space station. They do have this kind of examples in other countries. You see, during the maiden flight of the Starliner spaceship made by Boeing, because of it missed a very critical step of the ignition, so it missed a chance to dock with the International Space Station. This do happen before. So that is the reason why we must confirm the accuracy of the orbital parameters before we announce the success of the launch.
Look at those audience at the side. They're waiting. They're waiting for that a big moment.
You may notice that from this video we can see that at this moment still the face window of the helmet is still opened now, so it is not necessary to protect themselves. But several seconds before the launch, the 3 astronauts will close their helmet. So this IVA spacesuit can provide the second protection to them to the very fatal vacuum condition.
Right. So you're watching live footage from Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. This is inside the capsule, the Shenzhou-16 spacecraft.
The liftoff thrust of the Long March 2F is about 600 metric tons. So it's a very powerful launch vehicle. As I have mentioned, the mass of the Shenzhou spaceship is about 8.1 metric tons. So it is a very big spacecraft, and the launch vehicle will work for about 10 minutes, both the first and the second stage, and then it will entering the orbit maybe at the eastern coast of China, very close to Qingdao.
Right, and once they're in the outer space, they're waiting for that called fast docking process.
Exactly.
This time. What does fast docking mean? What is a slow docking anyway?
Well, slow docking, normally we had docking that took more than 20 hours. You know, once you, like Professor Yang mentioned, that you have to have the right inclination. That's the orbital plane. The inclination means that's you're traveling on the right track. And then there's an element of the altitude. You have to go to the right altitude to catch up with the station. The station is traveling at 7.6 kilometers per second. That is very high speed. And you have to travel in such a way that you have to maneuver and dock with the station. That all the element plays very important.
Gentlemen, I think the Shenzhou-15 crew are now watching the upcoming launch from the space station.
They are watching the live coverage.
Yeah, it's on your right, on your screen's right side, and so we've got live footage from 2 so different places. One's on Earth and one's in space.
Traveling at 6.7.
We can achieve this because we have the Tianlian data relay satellite.
Okay, so
now,
it's a two-way system,
two-way
right?
video transfer.
Yeah, so that's why we can see live streaming from inside the China space station right now. So I believe with this, the fast docking, how long it will take this time?
Roughly, fast docking is roughly 6 hours.
6 hours.
I think,
so let's say in a little bit more than 6 hours.
Yes, I think this
the 3 taikonauts inside the China space station will meet 3 new colleagues.
They'll meet for dinner.
In space.
So the fast rendezvous and docking raise a very strict requirement to the launch window. You know that several days before we just conducted an orbit maneuver to raise the orbit of the Tiangong space station. This can be recognized as a very important preparation for today's launch, because you know that the fast rendezvous docking can only be satisfied when the relative position of the 2 spacecraft has meet some requirements. So this is the reason we conducted the orbit maneuver of the Tiangong space station, and we just launched the Shenzhou-16 today.
This
right?
is the view you never see before because it's used by the
drone.
The drone to film.
From a very safe distance, right?
Yeah, they
and
have
you're
strict
watching live
regulations,
footage from the Zhouquan satellite launch
we can have
center. This is the launch tower. It's fully open now. We can see the Long March, the combination of the Long March 2F rocket and the Shenzhou-16 spacecraft. Now we're about to reach another crucial mark.
T minus 5 minutes.
Yeah, T minus, in a professional way. 5 minutes to the launch. Right, we've passed the 5-minute countdown to the launch, T minus 5.
And
so the launch will take place at 09:31 Beijing time. That's 01:31 GMT. Yes, Professor.
And the onboard computer of the Long March 2F rocket will be in charge of the control of the whole vehicle after several seconds.
So can we say it's kind of an automated process?
Yes,
Okay.
because you know
but human can intervene at any time. Override?
We have the remote control system, but at this moment, maybe after several seconds, the onboard computer will in charge of everything.
Right.
So you can see these two black holes by the newcomers. Those
Yes.
are two windows.
Right.
That's privileged to these two newcomers. The commander does not see the window, but these two new guys will see the window. But it's
For the
still,
view, right? That's
for the view. Yes. But it's still black because of outside is the fairing.
Yeah.
But once you deploy the fairing, they will see the whole Earth. I mean,
You see, look, they have already closed their helmet.
Okay. Helmet.
So
helmet closed.
It
for
forms the
all
airtight
three
sealing.
icons.
Airtight sealing.
So it's another redundancy for safety purpose. Yeah. Because the cabin is already have a life support system because the oxygens and temperatures all adjusted.
They're
But-
holding hands.
Yeah.
The
Working as a
atmosphere
team.
control.
Best wishes for this mission.
I think it's the commander giving these two some courages.
Yeah.
And it is
And
very
the commander, Jing Haipeng, is 56 years
56,
old
yes.
now, and the other two colleagues of his
36.
are all 36
Yes.
years old. So this is kind of a generational relay race in the Chinese.
20-year gap.
Yeah, 20-year gap. But let's remember, Mr. Jing Haipeng made it very clear that there is no generational gap between them. Yeah.
But when he mentioned this, there is.
Yeah.
T minus 3 minutes and counting.
Psychologically, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Then I think the last
3
guy
minutes
is already-
countdown to the launch.
Last guy from the tower is already in the bunker, so everybody's clear from the tower.
Yeah. Waiting for the big moment. The
And
sky
next
is
you
really
can see
clear.
that the rotational arms will leave the vehicle.
There's still a reddish small arm that is still providing some.
Connections.
Yeah.
And that arm
leave
will
finally, yeah.
evacuate in last seconds,
Just-
maybe
yeah,
minutes. Yeah.
Minute, just
Because
one.
there are some
within 1 minute.
plug-ins. It will be unconnected from the launch vehicle.
Right.
Oh,
See
you
these
can
two,
see.
yeah.
Okay.
The reddish.
Yeah,
arm.
this is the last remaining arms that's still
These
holding the
rotational
rocket.
arms.
And then once these two leaves, you can see that the rocket is standing on 4 small pins. So that is, the stability of the rocket. You have to, keep this very centralized gravity.
The cables on these arms are connected to the onboard computer of the launch vehicle.
You two gentlemen are already industrial veterans. Are you still excited about this? Because right now my heart is
Every
pumping
time we are
faster.
nervous.
You are?
Yeah.
Every time?
Every time it's very nervous.
You've seen this too much, I thought.
Exciting and nervous.
Right. The 3 taikonauts are ready. The launch of the Shenzhou-16 manned space mission is imminent at the moment. 09:31 is the launch time for this mission. You're watching live footage from Zhouquan Satellite Launch Center in northwestern China. This is live footage from inside the Shenzhou-16 spacecraft. The 3 taikonauts are ready to go.
It seems that the 3 crew members are much more calm than us.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they're well trained. 1 minute countdown to the launch. 1 minute countdown to the launch.
And the arm will be open.
Anytime. Yes.
50 seconds to the launch.
See, it's separated.
Now, the rocket is in standalone mode. ready for launch and ignition.
Now at this stage, the rocket is on its own. The navigation is
30 seconds to go.
So this is a video from the drone.
Never been seen this.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Lift off.
Pitch over means that it has already changed its direction from vertical direction to the
To a certain angle, right? We can also see that from a far
to
short.
the eastward.
Yes.
新山 USD 雷达跟踪正常，遥测信号正常。
This
The
will be
Shenzhou-16.
So this is a video mount with from the camera mounted on the core stage,
Right.
and this is an infrared image.
You're watching live footage on the launch of the Shenzhou-16 spacecraft to China Space Station.
And the next critical step will be the jettisoning of the emergency escape tower.
Right.
Again, this is infrared.
We can see a clear angle change, right?
Yeah. So it's flying eastward.
So will there be still some adjustment of the angle to the
Flight direction.
41.5 degree as you earlier mentioned?
Yeah. So the inclination. So this is you can see the two of the boosters.
There are 4 in total,
There are
right?
4.
Yeah.
So there are two on this
Yeah,
side.
just from one side. Yeah.
should be able to see it when separation.
Right.
So the emergency escape tower will be jettisoned soon.
You can see some light sparks on the top of the rocket when it's injected.
Right. And on the right side of the
This is
screen
a
is
three-
the simulation. of
3D simulation, but it
Simulation,
is
yeah.
driven by the real data.
The real data, of
which
course.
means that the position and the
Okay,
jettison.
now, the jettison of the escape tower.
Yeah. And the next step will be separation of the 4 boosters.
Right. Let's wait
Great.
for those step by step.
Followed by separation of the fairing.
The G forces acting on the bodies of the astronauts are increasing.
We can see the burning mark
Yeah.
on the entrance, right? So they right now is really high into the atmosphere,
Okay,
right?
separated.
Okay, separation of the 4 engines.
And the core stage is also separated.
Core stage separated.
So this is again the infrared image. We can see very clear the 4 boosters and the first stage.
They've already separated from
Now it's already on the working of the second stage.
second stage.
As I mentioned, it has 1 main engine and 4 vernier engines.
Right.
They
They
are
say
just
they
talking.
feel so comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're talking. And we
I
could-
think they've done the max Q, which is the maximum gravity.
They've already done that.
Yeah, they've already done it.
So you can see this is a camera from the video mounted on the second stage.
second stage.
And
This
this
is
is
inside the
a
fairing.
camera in the payload fairing. And the next critical step will be the jettisoning of the payload fairing. Okay,
It's all done.
It's just
already done.
Yeah.
Now they can see the
They can
sightseeing
see
from the
outside,
window.
Yes, yeah, they can see the outside.
Yes. So are they out of the atmosphere right now?
Exactly.
So can we say they're already in outer space?
Yes.
You're watching live footage from inside the Shenzhou-16 spacecraft. The 3 taikonauts are now in outer space, heading towards the China Space Station. On the left side of the screen, we can see the camera mounted still on the
On course stage.
core stage,
The second
outside
stage.
the core stage.
So this is the working of the second stage of the Long March 2F rocket vehicle. Still, on the left of screen is the infrared videos.
Right.
And the second stage of the Long March 12 worked much longer than the first stage because it only has one main engine.
Right.
With a thrust about 80 tons.
This is the image of the stage, the second stage engine.
The main engine of the second stage is fixed, and you can see that the small engine on the left corner, the small vernier engine can change its direction to control the trajectory.
Okay, but the main engine is fixed its angle.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
propulsion purpose.
Yeah, right.
And usually we separate the payload fairing at the altitude of about 100 kilometers. So at this moment, according to the definition,
Now we can see again live streaming from inside the China space station.
they are watching the live,
Yeah.
live coverage.
They're getting
Yeah.
closer.
They're getting closer and closer to their colleagues at this moment.
And also on the right bottom of the screen, we can see the 3D animation, and also you can see the data link between the ground stations and the launch vehicle.
Okay, so three of them.
Three of-
Yeah,
Three
yeah,
stations.
three ground stations.
Three ground stations.
At this moment, you're constantly changing.
Right.
So they are experiencing the.
It's also a
G-forces.
relay race between different ground.
They have a relay.
Downstream.
Yeah,
yes.
yes.
And this is a video on the rear part of the second stage.
It's still working at this moment,
It's
right?
all still working.
burning.
And the next critical step will be the shutdown of the main engine. But the,
Oh, we can see the Earth, right?
Yes.
yes, it's very bright.
So they're now in outer space, and the second stage engine is still at work. What's the next stage aim? They're adjusting the position angles or
Yeah. Adjusting its trajectory.
Trajectory.
You can see, although it is in daytime, but the sky is black because they were already in outer space
Yeah.
in a vacuum condition.
So the rocket engine will take them to the right velocity and right altitude,
Right.
and right orbit before there is a separation between the engine and the capsule itself. And then the final success will be indicated by the deployment of the solar array.
Right. Wow.
They are very relaxed.
Yes.
The Shenzhou-15 crew are relaxed and happily waiting for their colleagues. But we can also see that the three taikonauts in Shenzhou-16 spacecraft, they're also relaxed because they've well trained for this process.
Yes.
And so far, it's been a smooth process.
Mr. Dr. Zhu Yangzhu and Dr. Gui Haichao, at this moment, they are already qualified to be an astronaut because they are already above the common line. About
Common
the,
line?
Yeah.
It's
The
a
common line
professional
is,
jargon.
The altitude is 100 kilometers.
Okay.
So that is the artificial definition of the border of the outer space.
Right. The final frontier, right?
Yep.
Named under von Karman,
Right.
the renowned scientist.
So what about staying time? What if someone just passes out Mars and re-enters?
I think
Okay,
there's a
the main
shutdown.
engine is shut down.
The second stage engine is now shut down.
No, still the four vernier engines are working.
Okay. The main engine.
Main
Main
engine
engine
is
has
already
shut
shut
down.
down.
Which means they have reached the velocity and the altitude already.
And the vernier engine will do some very precise adjustment of the trajectory.
Still, we're watching live footage from the camera mounted on the second stage. And this is live stream from outer space.
Yeah. And after shutdown of the vernier engines, next will be the separation of the launch vehicle and the Shenzhou spaceship.
On the left, you can see the folded solar array. This is the stack of the solar array that has been folded in on the Shenzhou spaceship.
So at this moment, the cabin is still powered by batteries or what?
Yes, it's
Batteries.
powered by batteries.
Storage batteries.
Storage batteries. And once the solar panel is opened, then it can generate power by its own.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can see
Yeah, the
on
ground
the
stations
3D
are still
animation.
tracking the flights.
Yeah, from the 3D animation at the bottom right, you can see still that the four vernier engines are still working
Right.
to adjust the trajectory.
So when Professor Yang mentioned the burning engine, this is the process they take full advantage of the launch vehicle because the Shenzhou itself has its own adjustments system, but it's to take full advantage of the launch vehicle competence, and then after separation, the Shenzhou is on itself for adjustment.
Oh, they're still definitely watching in the same position. So yes, they're relaxed, but they're still anxious to
They will meet their colleagues
see the
this
success
afternoon.
of the launch at least, right?
Yes.
Well, we're also still anxiously waiting for that moment.
Okay, shut down.
Separation.
二级油机关机，团线分离。
Now the engine has left the spacecraft.
Yes.
So the
and,
spacecraft is on its own now.
and the next step will be unfolding of the solar panels.
Right.
That means the launch vehicle has done its job.
It has now completely left the spacecraft. Its job is done.
The March 2F is done. It's
And
finished.
next, we will measure the precise orbital parameters of the Shenzhou spaceship. And once it was confirmed that it is accurate enough, we can announce the success.
Right.
Now astronauts are feeling microgravity environment. They can throw up their pin and they're floating.
We just heard the voice, the Changjiang 3, which means the space tracking ship.
Now, on the left-hand side are the Shenzhou-16 crew, and on the right side of the screen are the Shenzhou-15 crew. They're about to meet soon, once the docking is completed, and they will do a handover, right?
Yeah, in orbit.
Yeah, and eventually the Shenzhou-15 crew will go back to Earth.
Prepare a meal for 6.
You just heard that, right?
Yes.
That's crucial for a long trip, right?
You know that the Mr. Deng Qingming from the Shenzhou 15 crew is already a grandfather.
Right.
Yeah. His daughter is also working in our space field.
So it's also a generational thing. Yeah.
Now we're looking at the solar panel that's ready to be deployed.
We can see clearly the Earth is
Yes.
now, at least for us, it's on the right-hand side of the Shenzhou-16 spacecraft.
Yeah. So I believe this is a video from the camera mounted on the propulsion module of our Shenzhou spaceship. So you can see the solar panels.
So this camera will be there, right?
Yeah. And you know that transferring signals with videos need a very high capacity.
Is it more constrained by bandwidth or other
Exactly.
transmission?
So there are coordinations between NERS and the ITU to get the compatible radio frequency.
Now, the solar panel is unfolding.
Unfolding very slowly. Great.
Now it's fully unfolded from what we can see. But we still need confirmation from ground control. The Shenzhou-50 crew inside the China space station are watching closely. They've been watching in almost the very same positions, right?
北京明白。
Now Beijing
太阳帆板展开开正常。
solar panel unfolded as planned. I just heard confirmation from the Beijing Aerospace Command and Control Center. So the Beijing Center has taken over.
Now the command has changed from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center to the Beijing Flight Control Center. But
And
still,
it will be so.
yeah, but still,
in the rest of the
announcement
mission.
of the success will be in the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center.
太阳帆板驱动正常。
Great. The antenna for the data relay satellite has already been unfolded.
And the solar panel, I just heard the solar panel is working
Normally,
as planned.
we
Yeah,
have
normally.
we just heard the voice that the driver, we call that SADA, work very normally. The solar array drive assembly called SADA work normally.
That's the arm of the
Right.
the solar array.
Yeah. You have so many abbreviations and jargons in your profession. This is a kind of a NASA left tradition.
The SADA has been used widely in the community.
Okay, let's report the space tracking ships called Changjiang, which means the Yuanwang space tracking ship, has already sent the measurements of the orbital parameters.
But that means that it's already in the Pacific
Pacific,
Ocean.
yes, exactly.
It's above the Pacific. It's outside China already.
So,
神舟
two
16号，我是北京，通报座舱大气环境及身体状况。
two teams. One's expecting to meet the other, and the other is watching closely on the successful launch, the announcement of a successful launch. So we're still in kind of, technically speaking, we're still in the launch process, right? Until that announcement of a successful launch.
As I mentioned, we must confirm that the orbital parameters is accurate enough. Only at these circumstances we can announce it
北
is
京
a
6
success.
点半，神舟16号经地面确认，座舱环境正常，可以打开面窗。
Now they can open their helmets now.
Yeah, because
so the
they
cabin,
must first monitor the
environment is
parameter of
normal.
the atmosphere. There we do have what we call life support system, environmental control and life support system inside the cabin.
You can see the right side, the window is very bright.
Yeah.
So
They're facing sunlight, basically.
there's-
Or the reflection of sunlight from the Earth.
Reflection of the Earth, yes. On the other side, it's also quite bright. I think it's they can enjoy a good view after they lift the helmet.
Right.
You can see Mr. Zhu Yangzhu on the far side.
Yeah.
Just near his seat, there is a button to cut the parachutes.
Oh, really? Where's the button exactly?
The button during the landing, Mr. Zhu Yangzhu will be in charge of cutting the parachute.
I see, because he's the flight engineer, right?
No, because he is 02.
Oh, 02.
各号注意，我是北京。根据北京实时轨道与遥测数据监视判断，神舟16号飞船已进入近地点高度200公里，远地点高度360.8公里，倾角41.3度，周期1小时30分钟的预定轨道。飞船太阳慢慢展开，工况正常，航天员状态良好，后续工作按正常飞控计划实施。
Professor, you've got your parameters now. What's your reading?
According to the announcement of the commander in Beijing Flight Control Center, the orbital parameters are very accurate. I believe that next the commander in the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center will announce the result of the launch.
And I also heard readings on the apogee and perigee.
Yeah.
Why is that? That's kind of crucial indicators for a right
Very,
orbit.
very crucial. Actually speaking, the perigee and apogee it must be lower than our space station. According to the features of orbital dynamics, the lower it is, the faster it rotates. So it is a chasing vehicle chase our Tiangong space station. Within 6 hours, they will meet their colleagues.
So
6 hours, a fast stalking process. Yeah.
So we can hear the apogee and the perigee is 360 something. The station is 370 something. So that is just below the station that can catch up at the right point.
下面请酒泉卫星发射中主任、发射指挥部周立鹏指挥长宣布发射结果。
Now we're waiting for the official announcement of the result of the launch of the Shenzhou-16 mission.
尊敬的各位领导、
Officials,
专家、
experts, and
根
comrades.
据火箭飞行速度
According to the flight data and report from Beijing Aerospace Center,
长征2号
the Long March 2 Y-16 carrier rocket has sent Shenzhou-16 manned spacecraft to the preset orbit.
帆板展开。
The solar panel has been unfolded successfully and is functioning well. I now declare the launch of Shenzhou-16 mission a complete success.
Now, this just came in. China has just officially announced the successful launch of the Shenzhou-16 manned spacecraft with 3 taikonauts on board. For more on that, let's cross live to our reporter Wu Lei at Beijing Aerospace Command and Control Center. Wu Lei, now the Beijing Center has taken over the flight control. Bring us up to date.
Hello, Pandeng.